This is where we create content, we create social media, we create branding. Basically, the things that are happening today, the things that are relevant in our society. We've got a whole crew that lives here, stays in the house, and I call it the luxury sweatshop. We moved a bunch of kids from their mom's house straight into the 10,000 square foot house in Paradise Valley. We chained them to some desks upstairs with some laptops, and that's basically all day long. They're creating content for social media. We've got a lot of our clients are usually business people, world-class leaders that have done very, very well in their businesses, but they haven't quite tapped into the social media side of things. They haven't quite tapped into how to take their personal brands to the next level. We're doing a lot right now with the National Football League. We've got a lot of athletes, entertainers that we're helping them to get their image out there better, get their brand out there better. We teach attraction marketing because a lot of times you see people get on social media, they get in business, and they just spew all kinds of stuff. And then instead of attracting people to them, they do just the opposite. They end up losing their audience, and they're wondering why. And so we help with that. So that's basically what happens here. And on other days, we'll do our Build Your Empire events where we'll do masterminds, and we'll bring in 25, 30 world-class speakers. So like you guys may have heard some of the names that have come through here, like Brad Lee. We've got a partnership with Ty Lopez. We've got Gary Vee. We're working on a shoe deal right now with K-Swiss. As a matter of fact, my partner later on will come up here. Casey Adams, who I call him he's the leader of the millennials. I mean, if you guys seen Casey Adams yet, his stuff? So at Build Your Empire, we made an 18-year-old the CEO of our company. And so it's very cool because the millennials a lot of times get a bad rap. The millennials get a bad rap of being lazy. And I can tell you they are not lazy. The challenge is, or the issue is, they don't want to do what we did. They don't want to be tied to a cubicle. They don't want to be stuck in a factory. They are very, they watched what happened. They watched what happened when the economy crashed and their parents lost their house or lost their cars. They watched their families struggle, and their families did exactly what they were told to do, right? What were we told to do? Go to school, work hard. Well, first you got to get an education, right? Yeah, you get a degree, and then when you get the degree, then what do you get to do? Then you go work for a big company so you can get what? You got a watch. And then you get to go greet at Walmart when it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when it's time to live our golden years, the millennials have watched so many of the more mature people that came before them. They've watched them flying underneath the golden arches. It's like they're not getting the lifestyle, and they're not fooled by the stuff we keep telling them to do. You know what I mean? We keep telling them the same old played out stuff that apparently is not working. I forgot to bring my book. I had a friend of mine wrote a book, got a big financial outfit. They do amazing stuff in the finance world, but he wrote a book, Everyone Ends Up Poor is what the book reads. And in the book, he says everyone. He says, he lays out a scenario where a couple saves about almost $1 million in their IRA, 401ks, which is pretty good. Matter of fact, the average American right now would have a hard time coming up with $1,000 for an emergency. So you save $1 million, and now it's time to retire. Then he has to go to his client and say, after taxes and after we go through all this stuff, you're going to get to live an amazing lifestyle on about $20,000 a year. Congratulations, Mr. Retire. You can't even get a Disney cruise today for 20 grand. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that brings us to where we are now. One of the biggest questions we get inside of Build Your Empire. By the way, if you haven't checked out Build Your Empire, go to our Instagram page. We're very proud. It's growing by about 6,000 to 12,000 or 3,000 to 12,000 a week. We've got about 1.5 million followers on there right now, and it just continues to grow organically in a big way because all we do is we give. It's content. We're putting out value. We're not asking for money in return. We're giving back. My partner and I, we've been very blessed to have had some major home runs in business. So now we've been able to share the house. I used to tell people the door is always open, but I found people actually start showing up on a regular basis. So now we lock the door. But we do, you'll see we got people coming through all the time, and we're taking a lot of the millennials, the young millennials that have these ideas, and we're putting them in the incubator. And it's amazing the things they come up with, creative ideas. Like these kids were born with smartphones in their hands. They have no problem with the technology. They have no problem using it. They have no problem pushing it forward, but they have so many amazing ideas. So we help take those ideas and then put them into a blueprint and then executable plan. And so, but the number one question we get from almost everybody that plugs in, we can teach them how to scale. We can teach them leadership. We can teach them all this stuff. And we put incredible people in front of them to do that. We keep getting, what should I do? What vehicle should I use? How should I do it? And this is where this particular event today comes in. We have found what I believe is probably the most relevant, most incredible vehicle for change. Whether you're here looking to supplement some income or you're looking for some significant income, we believe we've got an opportunity for you. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to steal their thunder because we've got some amazing people that are going to share exactly what that opportunity is and how it works. We even have the CEO of this. Matter of fact, the founder, the guy behind this whole thing is sitting here today, and you're going to get a chance to hear from him. I'm excited about that. But without any further ado, I want to get this show on the road and introduce one of my great friends and business partners. I have so many what I call Tina-isms. This lady is brilliant. She's definitely a world-class entrepreneur. She understands this space probably better than anybody I've ever seen. And we really are in the middle of disrupting an entire industry. You know, think about this for a second. She's going to go through this. We're disrupting an entire industry. Think Uber. What did Uber do? Uber disrupted an entrenched, established taxi service. Now we don't taxi everywhere. What do? We Uber everywhere. I had a postal worker. We met in San Diego, and the postal worker, he was telling me when he was delivering mail, he started noticing red envelopes were showing up. Every now and then a red envelope would show up at the doorstep. Red envelope at the doorstep. It was, a couple here and there. And he said, all of a sudden I noticed was almost every day, hundreds of red envelopes I'm delivering to people's houses. Do you know what those red envelopes? Netflix. What did Netflix disrupt? Remember and you remember going? Remember we used to get in our car, drive over to the local Blockbuster to get a movie. And of course, Netflix disrupted. I mean, who would have thought you could take out a massive organization like that? But they were entrenched. They were established. Airbnb, I can go on and on and on with this stuff. Matter of fact, he said at that event, the reason why he was at an event just like this in San Diego, he said, I just started noticing these DNA kits going out, 23andMe. He said, I noticed one, and I noticed a couple. He said in the last 12 months, it seems like every other house is getting them. Millions of people doing it. So what we figured out is that we're right in the middle of something. This is about to be a $600 billion industry that we're first in line for. The only player doing what we do. So if you've never found yourself in the right place at the right time, or you don't think you have, you won't be able to say that after today. And this young lady is going to prove it to you. Please help me welcome our powerhouse, one of the top producers inside of our company right now, Ms. Tina Malsom. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It's funny that John brings up Netflix because I have a Netflix story that is going to be funny to you, but very painful to me. So in college, I was dating this gentleman whose dad was a venture capitalist, and he said, hey, come over to my house. My dad's doing this thing, and he wants to invite us, and he needs an opinion of some, we weren't millennials back then, but we were just not called that, right? So we went, we're sitting there, and they're talking about this service where they're going to take DVDs and send it through the mail. And I'm going, well, that's stupid because there's a Blockbuster on every corner and I live in an apartment. My mail slot's like that big. It's not going to work. It won't even fit in my mail slot. I'll never use it. And that's when I passed up on the opportunity to be an initial investor in Netflix. I know. And that's why I'm an entrepreneur now, because now I don't say no to any opportunity. No matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm at, I'm always looking and always open because I don't want to miss the next Netflix, right? Which is exactly what we have here. So, I'm the opposite of what John said on the millennials that know how to use all the technology. Because when it doesn't work for me, I go like this. Who's going to fix it? Thank you. So I think you guys are here for several reasons. And some of you came here for business. Some of you came here because you have friends here. And some of you came here to hear about health. I will be the first in the room to admit that I'm those people. I like McDonald's. I know it's a horrible thing to say out loud, especially when we're recording. I like pizza. I hate the gym. I'm sorry. I am not one of those health-minded people who likes to think about health all day and all night. I think about it for I don't know, a minute and a half every morning when I take my supplements. And then I don't think about it the rest of the day. How many of you people are like me? Please don't let me be the only one. Okay. Okay, good. So that's why I'm here. I started in this industry I've been in the industry 22 years, and I say industry meaning medical field, because when I went to college and got a degree in something completely useless that I don't use at all, I went to work for my neighbor. I had a 6-month-old son, and my neighbor said, well, I've never had an employee before, but I sell medical supplies, and we're looking for someone to come in the office and like organize stuff, and you can bring your son. Okay, how many of you are moms? How many of you would do anything if you could just bring your kids with you every day? I'm like, he could have said you're going to be, loading garbage bags and whatever. It wouldn't have mattered. I did it because I could bring my 6-month-old with me every day. So I started working for this medical supply company. It took me 12 years, but I worked my way up from the secretary office person to the vice president of the company. I went through the sales department, the marketing department, self-taught, and know how to do it all, and learned because those people were paid on commission. And I was paid on this crappy hourly. So I'm like, what do I need to do to what they get, right? So I worked my way up. Well, I went to work one Monday. My son was 9 at this time. Went to work one day, and they were gone. The whole company. Vice president of the company had no idea that the company was actually moving across the state. So I called my boss who was in China on vacation, and I said, hey, I think we were robbed, because there's all the stuff is gone. And he said, oh, well, my daughter said something about moving the company. And I went, oh, no. She had wanted my job for years. And she found a way to get it. Her dad went to China. She took the whole company, moved it across the state. And I was out of a job just like that. So I turned to network marketing, where I've been involved in this industry for about 12 years now. My son is now 21 years old. He's also involved in this company with us. And I have 4 beautiful bonus daughters, my husband, Kelly. But my health story starts with my mom, actually. How many of you have a mom? Okay, so most of us, I would say our health story started with our mom, right? Well, I was my mom, Flintstone vitamins. How many of you took Flintstone vitamins? Okay, so that was our extent of health in my house. We all took vitamins, 1 a day, Flintstone, whatever it was, right? Well, about 10 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with a genetic disorder called polymyalgia, and her mom also had it. She did pass away from it, as did my mom. Now, luckily for me, I was adopted, so I did not get that genetic variant. But it did start me thinking, but if not that, maybe it's something else. What does run in I don't know, what does run, something running in my DNA, I just don't know what it is, right? So I started looking at what is DNA? How does it work in genetics? So I got into this genetic industry overview. I mean, how many of you have seen A magazine? Somewhere in the last 5 or 6 years on DNA. They're everywhere. And now that I said it, you're going to see them all over. It's like buying a car and you're like, I'm the only one in my state that has this car. And then you get on the road and what happens? Everybody has that car. You just didn't notice it before. So now you're going to notice this. So why take a DNA test? I started looking into the whole genetics thing, and I thought, well, sure, 23andMe, Ancestry.com, I'll do one of those. See what happens, right? I just heard the #1 Christmas gift this year. #1 Christmas gift for 2018 were these genetic tests. How cool is that, right? Because 10 years ago when I started looking into it, it was not that relevant. It was out there, but it's not like people were it was like the hot topic, right? It is now. So I took a test and I found out some really interesting things. I'm Irish and English. And then I found out that I have blue eyes. I was like, oh gosh, how would I have known that before? 60% of people with my genetics prefer salty over savory stuff. I mean, these are the things that my genetic test showed. And I'm going, how ridiculously useless is this, right? I mean, it was fun for like a minute. And then I was like, well, that's not fun anymore. It didn't give me anything. My ring finger is longer than my index finger. That was my favorite one. I'm like, what? Come on, really? This is what these tests are testing for. Now, they did give me some information, like, a few things about cancer, late onset Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, a few things, but it wasn't enough for me to do anything about it. It was just information at that point, right? They say knowledge is power. I don't know. This knowledge for me gave me no power at all. I actually think action is power. When you can take an action towards improving, that's where the power comes from. So, I started like this, Flintstones, right? You all agreed you did that too. One size fits all. Everybody takes it, right? Why did we take that? Because who said so? Our mom. right? And then as I grew older, then I listened to other people that were smarter than my mom, like Oprah. How many of you ever went to the store? How many of you ever went to the store and bought a supplement because Oprah said so? Come on, I know I'm not the only one. How many of you ever took acai juice? It's because Oprah said so, right? Then it was Dr. Oz. Then anything Dr. Oz said I should take, I'd be like, Dr. Oz said so, I better take it, right? That's called blind nutrition. So, you know, then there's targeted nutrition, which is going to your doctor, right? Maybe taking the test, going to your doctor, seeing what they have to say. But my doctor would do this. He'd get out his clipboard and he'd go, okay, what runs in your family? Heart disease. And I would say, I don't know. Okay? High blood pressure. I don't know. Cholesterol. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. My whole page was full of, I don't know. I have no idea. And they don't just ask that because they're like, think you're bored sitting in the lobby and you need something to do. They ask that because whatever future health path they put you on is predicated by those answers. How many of you think maybe at one point in time you answered one of those questionnaires and answered it wrong? What if you do that? And that's what they're basing your future health on? What if you got it wrong? There has to be a better way, right? It's called designer nutrition. Nutrition that is scientifically based and for you specifically based on a scientific test, like a DNA test, right? How many of you have already done your DNA test? A lot. How many of you saw the results and went, holy crap, that is so cool, right? Me too, me too. And for me, it was completely unknown. And then even more shocking was my son's test. He's 21, and he has a lot of shit from my ex-husband. I gotta say, thanks. He helps out a lot of stuff I'm not happy about, right? How many of you moms do things for your kids even more so than you'll do it for yourself? Okay, so as much as I wanted my supplements, and I do have my own supplements with my name right on them, I was more excited to get my son his because his DNA was just so bad that I was like, you're taking this every day. I don't care if I have to pay you to do it or bribe you to do it, whatever, but he's all into it now. He loves it. But back then, when we started with this genetic journey, there was so little information about it. When I had my first DNA test done for health, it was 3 pages. 10 years later, with our DNA test, 37 pages. And I'm telling you, it's so comprehensive and they put it in language that, you know, even the average person can completely understand. So what is Uforia Science? We're a biotech company that creates custom designed supplements based on your own personal DNA. And supplements were created in the first place to supplement food, right? Because there was a time when food was great. There was lots of good food. The soils were plentiful with nutrients. Now it's not like that. Our soils are depleted, like really badly depleted. And it's so funny, I always talk about organic food because I think it's such a crock. Like, I know there's people out there, but I drive down I-5. Okay, I don't, I sleep, but my husband drives down I-5 and all these organic farms along the way, and you can see the black smoke flowing right onto the organic fruit. I'm like, whatever, right? So I trust that a supplement is going to supplement what I'm not getting in my really awesome diet. So I'm not the one putting the product together, thank goodness, because I don't know that much about all of how it works, except that these people do. Geneticists. These guys came at Harvard, Yale, I think Brown, you know, all the big ones, not Fresno State, where I went. So they came from the good schools. And I gotta say, I am so impressed. They are certified nutritionists, geneticists. They know about how all this science works. They're putting together the 37-page report. They're putting together the products. In fact, I just heard, we're getting a new video that I won't tell you who I heard it from, that explains exactly from the minute you swab your cheek to the minute it shows up at your house, the whole process. How cool is that, right? So all of that is coming. And of course, LaCour Enterprises is behind it, and it's a giant in this industry and manufacturing healthy products. So what is inside your U-Start kit? When you get your U-Start kit, it comes with a pre-trition. There's an ingredient label. I couldn't tell you any of the ingredients in it, except it's super good for you. It cleanses your body of toxins and gets you ready for your nutrition, which will come about 30 days later after you swab your cheek. So it comes with that. It comes with 2 swab brushes. What they're looking for is skin cells that are on the insides of your cheek. So you're going to swab the inside of both cheeks, send it back to the laboratory. It comes with a prepaid envelope and a $100 discount for the lab test. It's usually $199, but we're pre-launch, so Ron said, let's give them a little bit of a deal, $99 for the DNA test. It's a very simple process. Our lab is HIPAA certified. That means that we can't share your information. How many of you have done a 23andMe test? Just a few? Or Ancestry? Do you know that right at the bottom, it flat out says right there on the very bottom that they're going to share your information with pharmaceutical companies? They're not hiding it. They're not even hiding it. It says right there, and we all go, oh, yeah, click, right? We all do that. We know. HIPAA certified. We are CLIA and CAP certified. That means that at any time, these regulatory people can come into the laboratory, pull anything off the shelf at any time, look at it, analyze it, reverse engineer it, anything they want to make sure it is exactly as we say it. Is that pretty cool to have that kind of certification? And I know that we're working right now on the, and I think it's called the NSF, National Sports Foundation, so that all athletes will be comfortable taking our product as well. Oh, nice. So these are the genes we're testing for. You'd think after 10 years of this industry, I would be able to say them by heart, but I can't. There's like 3 that I know of off the top of my head. But I will say this, they're all actionable, meaning that when you find out what's going on in this, you can actually do something about it, right? It's not like saying you have blue eyes, because what am I gonna do about that, right? Buy some new contact, nothing. These are actionable genes. That's why we're testing these particular 18 genes. 3 or 4 of them deal with your heart. How many of you know that heart disease is like rampant? I mean, it's pretty bad in the US and Canada especially. It's very bad. It's a problem. How many people, this year alone, I've already had friends that pass away from heart problems at the age of 47, 48 years old. That's a definite problem that needs to be addressed. What about energy? How many of you are over the age of millennial and feel like your energy used to be a little bit better? Just a little bit, right? Well, this is predicated by your DNA. Let's talk just about CoQ10, just one of these genes. CoQ10 is an enzyme that produces naturally in your body, but when you hit about 30, 35, it starts to decline, right? Which causes your energy to decline. So if you have a good nutritionist or doctor, sometimes they'll say you should add CoQ10 to your diet. Great. So you go to the GNC and you're staring at the shelf, and there's 2 forms of CoQ10. One is ubiquinol, one is ubiquinone. Which one are you going to choose? How many of you need ubiquinol? How many of you ubiquinone? How many of you have no clue? All of us, because none of us know, right? That's the point. The point is, do the DNA test. Find out which one you need. Heaven forbid you're spending $50 on this little bottle this big and it does nothing for you because your body can't even absorb it. Okay? There's a few in here that are just like that. There's a couple in here for healthy weight management. How many of you have ever been on a diet with your husband? That is a bad mistake, right? Because then your husband loses weight and the wife's like, what the hell, right? And we always say it's because they're boys. I know you know, right? They're boys. It's so much easier for them to lose weight. That's actually not the truth. The truth is, it doesn't matter who you do a diet with. Your body's going to absorb everything you're doing differently because of your DNA. Your DNA is your core building blocks to your body. It will predicate pretty much everything you do when it comes to putting nutrients in. Okay, oxidative stress, free radical damage, healthy inflammatory response. These are all incredibly immune system. Inflammation is the precursor to like everything bad, right? You guys know that inflammation in your body, bad. How are you controlling the inflammation in your body right now? Are you not? Because I wasn't. I'm sure pizza is not, inflammation free. It's not good for you. I can say that. But how well your body detoxifies. Detoxification is part of your core. It's what maintains your health. If your body won't detoxify, you're gonna be unhealthy. That's black and white, right? So we're looking at these actionable SNPs. And once you do your DNA test, you're gonna get a report that looks like this. Very simple. Green is good, woohoo, right? Yellow, not so good. It means one of your parents passed down this potential issue. Red is bad. Red means bad. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's bad. So when you're looking at this, now, you can take this report. When I first did my DNA, I took this report to my doctor, and I handed it to him. He's like, what's this? I go, oh, that's my DNA results. He goes, what does it mean? I'm all, I don't know. That's why I brought it to you. I don't know. But come on, this is pretty simple, right? The way they've laid this out, put it together, it's pretty simple to read. But what are you going to do with it? Right? Once you get the test, what are you going to do with it? Well, you could go to the store and look up the ingredients in yours. I have 67 ingredients in my product. My husband has 78. My son has 92. It's probably the worst in the whole company, right? But look at some of these ingredients. Ever seen a Shazandra berry at the store? You know what that is, right? What about this one? Burdock root. What is a burdock root? Can't even pronounce some of these, like that one. Who wants to pronounce this one for me? Come on, give it a try.
Big word. KP.
I don't know what that is. I certainly wouldn't know where to find one, right? If this is in my product, now I'm having to search all over town. Right? So 67 of these ingredients, they are non-GMO. They are vegan. They are gluten-free. It's a great combination of products because these combined, based on those 18 genetic SNPs, and it's not just the ingredient, because I know I need vitamin D, and I know Najla needs vitamin D, but do you think the two of us need the exact same amount? Probably not, right? So it's not just the ingredient, it's the quantity too, right? It's the quantity that makes the difference. So based on these ingredients, plus the 18 gene SNPs in the right quantities, 400 million potential. You think you can find that at the store, right? I love when people say, oh yeah, GNC is now doing DNA testing. I'm like, oh. Okay, and then what do? They send you your test in the mail, and then they walk you around the store and go, oh, take that, and then that, and then that. And they just walk you around the store and point at stuff. It's like pre-packed. That's not custom. Nobody else is doing custom. It's got my name, like right there for me. And see that? My name, me. It's a total ego thing here because I like seeing it in the morning. It's got my name right on it. I think that's why the millennials like it. It's all about you. So, if I had to put it together myself, like I said, I like to think about health for like a minute. First thing in the morning, I don't even take it twice a day because I don't like to think about my health twice a day. Once a day, first thing in the morning, all at once, and then I'm done with it. It couldn't be more simple. Do you guys know that some caterpillars never become butterflies? They're always caterpillars for their entire life. Did you guys know that? You know what the difference is? Proper nutrition. If a caterpillar never gets the proper nutrition, it never ever becomes a butterfly, ever. It'll stay a cat. So if you want to stay a caterpillar, that's the GNC is for. If you want to do the butterfly, you got to come with a Uforia. So like I said, 400 million potential formulas, 20 years in the making. This company has all the backing it needs to be the biggest powerhouse disruptor in the wellness industry we have ever experienced. And it has your name. Right on it, comes right to your door. No thinking needed. So what looks better to you? Like I said, this seems ridiculous after hearing this. And after hearing this, you can't unknow what you now know, right? So I always tell people, I talk to people about this everywhere I go, constantly. If somebody's not, if they don't immediately say, oh my gosh, do you have one in your trunk? I need it immediately. That doesn't happen all the time, sometimes, but not every time. I always think that's okay, because in 30 days, when you run out of whatever that is, and you go to the store and you're staring at the shelf, you're gonna be thinking about me. You're gonna be like, oh, what was that thing she said about the TV? Do I need this? Why do I don't know, right? Because it is confusing. It's very confusing, and they're just going to sell you, whatever. The guy working behind the counter makes, I don't know, $12 an hour. Is that minimum wage here in Arizona? He doesn't know what your body needs. You're going to trust that over your DNA, right? This makes more sense. And think about the cost for a minute. When was the last time you saw one of these bottles only at $5? But this is my husband. His ingredients at $5 a piece from the store would be over $380. And you can get this for $159 a month or less.
And actually take
it. How many of you, when you got, be honest, you got your, with your name on it, and it showed up, and then you went to your kitchen cabinet and went like this and went, oh gosh, I can get rid of all that, and they were halfway full because you never took them, right? Okay, me too, right? That's what we do. So I love when people say this. Can I just eat the right foods? Yeah, we went over this. When was the last time you found, astaxanthin at the Lucky's? Never. So how are you going to find the right foods and buy 76 of them in one shopping trip? And not only would it take you hours to find them all, but then it would take you multiple hours to eat them all in whole food form, because this is a raw food product, okay? So in 1950, you could eat 2 peaches that had enough vitamin A in it to give you the proper nutrition based on, how many of you remember the food pyramid? 3rd grade, right? 3rd grade, food pyramid, we've all seen it, yeah? Do you know that that hasn't changed since 1946? I think maybe our food sources have changed a little bit since then, and maybe they should update that. But then it would be like this, right? Because we have to put so much more in our bodies to compensate for the depleted soil and the food. Do you know that an apple, when does the apple have the most nutrition? When it's on the tree, right? The instant you pick it. Do you know that it doesn't have to be on a grocery shelf for 3 weeks? How much nutrition is in that apple by the time you actually eat it? Like none, if any, right? We need this. So another question I get, will you feel different? I would say no. Whole food, raw food, good food, nutrition, proper nutrition, we feel good. You eat it because you want it. You don't walk around going, man, I'm so craving a salad today. Who does that? Okay, some of you might do that. I can think this guy probably does that. I don't. I say, man, I'm craving a cheeseburger today, right? But I eat this because it's good for me, not because I feel the potassium or I feel the vitamin C coursing through my veins. It doesn't work that way, right? I do it because it's good for me. Same reason I do Uforia, because it's good for me. So the next question I get, how will I know when to stop taking it? Okay, let me ask you. What happens when you have 6-pack abs and then you stop doing sit-ups? You end up with a K, right? That's what happens. You're not going to stop. If you want the 6-pack abs, you got to continue the workout. If you want the proper nutrition, you got to continue taking your product. I would never give this up. And could you imagine running out and being like, oh, I'll just run over to GNC and fix some stuff? You're not going to do that. Once you're taking this, you'll never go back to that, right? So it's the building blocks of your body. It's your core, okay? I'm going to give you because we're all visual people, right? So if you don't remember anything that I said, hopefully you'll remember this, and I don't want to break the table. Okay, this is what your DNA is, like a Jenga. You guys seen a Jenga before? This is what your building blocks of your body looks like. This is your core. What happens when you ignore your core? Okay, so I'm going to take some of these out. Free radical damage, detoxification. Okay, so this is what your body is like. Gosh. Healthy weight, I'm not taking that one out. All right, healthy lipids, we're gonna take these out. This is what your body looks like before you do your DNA test, right? You've got holes. So what happens if you've got all these holes in your foundation and you start putting stuff on the top? I'm not gonna, but it's gonna get wobbly, it's very unstable, right? This is an unstable body here. So I can't put the right DNA back in your body, but I can put the right nutrition back in your body, and when you do that, what you're doing is you're filling the holes in your core and making it strong. That way, when you do eat the salads and you do work out, you're putting all of that good lifestyle on top of a very healthy foundation, and it's going to be way more effective than if you didn't, right? Okay, so think of that when you're thinking about what we're trying to accomplish here, is we're trying to patch up all the holes in your DNA so you can live a longer, healthier life. Okay, you're going to pay for one or the other, right? How many of you have someone in your life at some point in time who maybe had a bedside table that looked like that? I don't think people plan for that. It's just one of those things, right? Have you ever seen a commercial for like toe fungus and like it talks about all the things that could happen if you take the medicine? Well, your toe might heal, but you also might die, okay? So be careful with that, right? That's the way the commercials do it. And you might start taking something for some simple fatigue when you're in your 20s, and then it led to some other drug that led to some other drug and some other side effect that led to some other thing, and pretty much then you're taking all of this and you don't even know why you started or why you have to take it all, because once you're taking it, you don't not take it, right? So avoiding this, obviously, no one shoots for this. We all want to avoid this, and the only way to avoid it is to stay healthy, right? I know there's a saying, they say, some people work their whole lives to obtain wealth, and then they're so sick and tired and run down and exhausted and stressed out that they have to spend all that hard-earned money to get healthy again, right? We can just stop with that for $5 a day, about $5 a day, and we can just stay healthy and avoid all the sickness. And we have a great customer referral. How many of you like free stuff? You like free stuff, right? As a customer of ours, you can actually refer 4 people to our products and get yours for free. How cool is that, right? This is great for families. How many of you have a family of 3 or 4 or more, right? So your family can take the product and save some income here, save some money on it. So it's very easy to get started. There's 3 simple steps. You're going to order your kit. We talked about the kit. It's $159. Once you get the kit, you're going to register it for $99. You're going to swab your cheeks. You're going to send it into the lab. Once the lab has it, you're going to start on your pre-trition. They're going to get started on your U-trition. And about 30 days later, you can get your product and they